Hello, and today, welcome back to yet another read and react with me video, or you could call it a read along with me video, whatever you want to call it. And today is part 2 of going through The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is the prequel to the Hunger Games series, as I take a further deep dive now that the Hunger Games is back in the conversation, and I never finished the first book, so finishing that was also a journey, and that review is still coming out. But regardless, grab your snacks, grab your drinks, grab your copy if you're reading along with me and you're here to read my reactions to the chapters in comparison with yours. Whatever you're doing, let's go ahead and get into it. So, without any further ado, roll the intro. So, welcome back. I'm surprised, actually, as a footnote real quick, I just want to say I'm surprised that there was people actually interested in this series. I didn't actually get many comments about it, but the comments that I did have were unanimously for me to continue this series because y'all enjoyed my reactions. So that means the world to me, because I actually did do a book reaction at the end of one of my earlier reviews, which I'm sorry, the intro is loud if you go back to watch this video. I did not know what I was doing then. I'm so sorry. Forgive the intro and turn down the volume just before the intro rolls. Just a tip. But I did a review on the book Splintered by A.G. Howard, and I put my reactions, because I had filmed my reactions, and then I'd put that at the end of the video, and doing the reactions at the end was, quite frankly, made it one of my favorite videos that I've ever done. So if you go back to watch that video, that has like my very first reaction. So trying this out again and getting a better response makes me very happy. So let's go on, and where we picked up last, I left it at starting chapter 4. So let's go ahead and start reading chapter 4. So where we had left off, President Snow, or Coriolanus right now, he's a teenager, he was writing with the tributes from the 10th Hunger Games, and they end up in the monkey enclosure of the zoo, which is still shocking to me, by the way, still shocking. And now he's freaking out because there's all these people from the Capitol looking down on him. The tributes are circling him and like wanting to beat him up and crap, if not kill him, because they threatened that in the truck. They wanted to do the death to him. So now they're encircling him and taunting him, and everything's kind of blurring, and Lucy Gray is like secretly trying to help him by telling him to own it. But he's weirdly possessive already, because he's like, this is on page 49, and it said, Coriolanus tried not to panic, but he could feel the sweat running down his sides. All the faces of the nearby tributes, of the crowds at the bars, began to blur. Their features became indistinct, leaving only dark and light patches of skin broken by the pinkish red of their open mouths. His limbs felt numb. His lungs starved for air. He was beginning to consider making a break for the chute and attempting to climb it when a voice beside him softly said, "Own it." Without turning, he knew it was the girl, his girl, and he felt immense relief that he was not entirely alone. His girl?
Not your girl! The fuck is wrong with you?
You known her how long? Like, just because she's assigned to you does not mean she's assigned to you, sir. His girl what? I'm sorry, I thought that was just weirdly possessive and I wanted to say it. This is on page 51. And so they're both acting like this is a show, or pretending like he's just out for afternoon tea, and this is playing into how they're going to make the Capitol like Lucy, is that he's basically humanizing her to the rest of the Capitol.
I heard him first. I said, hold on. I said, hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Like, humanizing her, because he keeps describing that the attitude of the Capitol people is that everyone from the districts are riffraff and that they're just barbaric and evil and cruel things like beasts. And that's why they're being put in the monkey house for the enjoyment of the Capitol citizens. So he's basically humanizing her. A human being. To the Capitol. Like,
this how I press it. Ah, what the fuck?
I mean, good, but did that need to happen? I mean, they're people. It's messed up. Just wanted to say, it's just messed up. The way that Lucy Gray is just working the crowd is absolutely phenomenal. Like, she's just ignoring all the adults and particularly talking to the children and just playing everything off as if this is just a light thing that's happening to her, and like, oh, are we on television, when she deliberately knows that she's going to be running into a reporter with his camera, knowing that they're on TV. Like, the way that she's working the crowd is so cool. And then we learn another detail about her on page 53, that her people are the Covey, that they were musicians by trade, and that the one day that they used to travel from like district to district, and then one day that was just suddenly outlawed, and they were all forced to be put into District 12. So she doesn't really consider herself a District 12 citizen at all. That's kind of an interesting thing to know, is that there was a group of people that had the permission, because in the regular Hunger Games book, in Katniss's time in the 74th or 75th Hunger Games, there's no travel allowed between the districts, but to know that there was a group before that did travel between the districts and had that permission is kind of cool and kind of interesting to learn about. So I wanted to mention that. I don't know who this one character is already, but the fact that she's modifying animals, which reminds me of in the first book where they have those frickin' wolf things with the eyes of the tributes in them, and she's just like torturing animals and is like, hibbity bibbity. I don't know who this bitch is already, but I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't like this lady already. And I feel like she's about to get worse. Just by her description alone. She scares me. More than President Snow. Which is saying something. Apparently her name is Dr. Volumia Gall. And she's the head game maker and mastermind that came up with the Hunger Games. And as a child, she did displays where she would melt the flesh off of rats and then ask the children if they had any pets they wanted to get rid of. Yeah, I don't like this bitch at all. What the fuck? Also, I'm pretty sure Snow has a thing for white cats. So, he mentions this cat that one of his other schoolmates owned. It was a fluffy white cat, and it was like his greatest comfort in the really dark, like, winter days. So, maybe that's why he likes white cats even now? Because it reminds him of that cat. Huh. I thought it was interesting and just wanted to mention that too. Oh shit. Oh shit. He received a demerit and could be expelled for going into the monkey pit. I mean, good. I mean, you could have gotten yourself killed, bruh, but y'all are literally torturing humans. Like, why is him going into where the tortured people are a bad thing? Obviously, you don't give a shit. The fuck? And that is the end of chapter 4. We learn more about Lucy and where she's, like, what her life is like and her past was like a little bit. And we get to see more of the inner workings of Snow's mind as well as the Capitol. So, with all that out of the way, let's go on to chapter 5. So he goes back to the monkey enclosure and he explains that like most of the animals have died and that's why they're housing the tributes there, is because during these dark days where everyone was starving and stuff, most of the animals did too, or they were eaten. I mean, I understand that those can be delicacies in other places, but just crazy that they would do that to the animals. Secondly, there's this other tribute named Sejanus, who actually, he grew up as a district kid, but during the war, his dad was basically a war profiteer, and they were able to climb the ranks in the capital, and he's able to attend this school. So now, he's the mentor for someone that he knew as a child.
Wow.
Imagine that. You have to literally try to keep someone that you knew from your childhood alive from the other side. And knowing both sides. What in the fucked up shit? That's just awful. That's just awful. And he brings sandwiches and is like having to remind Coriolanus that like, yeah, I used to be one of these tributes. I used to be able to be reaped. I used to be able to, I used to be one of these people. So his mom made a bunch of sandwiches and he's trying to feed the tributes and is like, hey, come on, you could help me, Snow. They could be starving. I'm sure they're starving. Like, that's just awful. That is just so awful. What the fuck? And now they're eating sandwiches together through the bars of the monkey enclosure. And he's doing it basically all for show, which, good strategy. But at the same time, like, these are still human beings. Oh, hi, Bruno. That's my cat. And he is trying to get to me right now. So, I'm going to go ahead and do an edit, do a cut, and then I'll come back to you. So, he's about to leave as they're after they're done eating, and they're about to leave, and Lucy starts to sing, and it reminds Coriolanus of his mother, who died in childbirth, and then his dad died shortly after. So, he says that it was like a piece of his heart had been hollowed out. And I feel like that's going to affect him for the longest time, is because there's another rose analogy, is his mom loved roses, and that the smell of, like the soft smell of roses reminds him of his mother. So there's all these different rose analogies in with the snow. So it's just another rose analogy and why roses mean a lot to President Snow later on, and I just wanted to mention that. So I finished chapter 5, and Sejanus is trying to trade Coriolanus, Lucy Gray, in order to not have to train someone that he knew in school, which we do get confirmation that he knew his tribute Marcus in school, and that Marcus had even helped him one time when he had cut his finger really badly. Marcus had taken a cup of snow and stuffed his finger in it. And he's trying not to, deal with having to put a past classmate into the arena, and is even like, dude, what the fuck? I don't want to do this shit. So Snow, of course, decides to not let him have this chance to trade, because he's already possessive of Lucy. Like, he's so possessive of her that at the end of the chapter on page 75, he wrote, if having Marcus as a tribute made Sejanus squirm, then good. Let him squirm. Lucy Gray was the one thing belonging to Coriolanus that he would never, ever get. Sorry, my friend, he said mildly, but I think I'll keep her. You see what I'm saying with the possessive vibes? He seems very possessive of her. And that is the end of chapter 5, and going into chapter 6. And I think that is all the time that I have for today. So, what are your thoughts so far on these 2 chapters? If you want me to continue the series, please, of course, let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video at all, please make sure you hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing on the way out and join the Rando Not Nation today. If you're looking for all my socials, you go to my channel, you find my link tree. My link tree has everything, including TikTok. Everything's there. YouTube, Instagram, everything's there. And with all that self-promotion out of the way, I love you all so much, and I hope you have the best day. Bye.